And oh wait, you know what? We're not going to do the introduction.
Why?
Okay, sorry guys, we're live right now.
Oh, nice.
And
Hey, what's up?
so Garrett wants to do the.
I feel like we have to.
He loves it, man. He loves it. So
It gets everybody ready.
Not everybody has their own theme song.
True.
from the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp.
And I'm G. Drussel.
And we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned. Hey, we did it. Hello, everybody.
How are you doing?
You're just so excited today, Gary.
Well, I mean, I had to force you to do the intro.
I know, right?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Art Bell
Did you?
thing. Yeah.
Did you like that? We got
that.
Jered in the studio. I'm going to bring him on. And guys, if there's a point where you can't hear him because his mic's not as hot as what Garrett and I have, let me know, and then we'll have to make him get closer to the mic.
How close?
He'll have to be
I think I've been moving
super.
back already.
Do you see the diaphragm in there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Can I twist it a little bit?
Yes,
or something?
absolutely.
Okay.
Please do.
So you guys played music together a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, he's a great drummer, man.
Thank you.
Little musical stuff
Great
about
guitarist.
he had a very successful band here in Oklahoma City called the Whirlybirds.
I love that name.
Yeah, great band. So before we start paranormal, I mean, if you can talk about why it's not together anymore.
Oh, I mean, we're all still really good friends. I think we just grew out of it, you know? I mean,
VH1 behind is
yeah.
music.
There's, yeah.
The Whirlybirds.
Yeah.
It's
just
it
crazy.
was somebody, wasn't it? It always is.
Honestly, I'd probably have to say it was me.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Was you
yeah.
losing? Was the direction of the music going in wrong?
No, I was just not in a good spot. I was just,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
about what kind of music was it?
Indie, kinda.
Yeah, it had a
Nice.
little bit of like maybe some 60s pop throwback, you know, a little bit of that maybe, but I'd say mostly indie.
Cool.
Hey, you guys are talented, and you're
Thanks.
a very talented drummer.
Thank you.
He was one of my favorites when he would sub for us sometimes, and so we
Throwing the kid-
we did what, half a dozen
throwing the
shows
kid in.
probably.
At least, yeah.
At least, yeah.
Hey, is that what you guys said? You said, let's throw the kid in.
Get in there,
Get in there.
get in there,
kid.
kid. You're up, you're
Yeah,
up.
give him
Hand him
the sticks.
hand him the old rusty sticks. Here you go, kid.
Oh, that's great. What band was that with? Groove Underground? Is that what you said?
These were Buddy Rich's sticks at one time.
That's first when that's when I first met you around that time. That was a cool band. Groove
Yeah.
Underground.
Groove
Yeah,
Underground, yeah.
glad.
Sweet name too.
That was
I
fun.
love that.
That was fun. Okay, so let's get with it. Okay, so yesterday, some of you guys who showed up yesterday at our live saw we were doing some UFO hunting. Jered kind of has this thing about attracting weird stuff. So,
Yeah, a little bit.
so we did have, and I like I told you, I was going to be very skeptical about the whole thing as far as, I mean, you know, and you'd want me to be truthful, right?
Absolutely. If I belong in a hospital, I need someone.
Then
to
he
tell
needs
me.
to know.
Yeah.
He needs to know. Okay, so we had, to me, there was three things that happened that was weird.
Mhm.
The first one, you know what? I felt so stupid because I was going, you know, when he's looking at north and that light was dimming and it was like, God, that's got to be, you know, it's a freaking
Yeah, I know,
airliner. I was like,
I
oh no.
That's okay though.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. So the first weird thing, and again, this could have been a patrol helicopter, but there was a red light. All of them were red yesterday. That was weird.
Yeah, I didn't see any kind of spotlight or any kind of LED or anything. I mean,
Yeah.
just red.
Yeah, it was, and so it was going from south to north, right? And then all of a sudden it starts going north to south. And I mean, because we thought it was a plane because Wiley Post is by there somewhat, isn't it
It's
close?
pretty close, yeah.
So we thought, okay, it's a plane, but a plane, there's no way the plane could have U-turned like that.
Yeah.
But I guess a helicopter could turn pretty quick. I don't know. I'm not a helicopter pilot. So.
Yeah, neither am I.
And so,
One day.
and then we saw it come back
Yeah.
again, right?
Yes.
And then I think it went back one more time.
Just back and forth.
But so me and Dylan and I think Jered was agreeing with us too. It's like, well, it could be a patrol helicopter
Right.
because we have those. One thing I noticed about the police helicopters that I've seen, that they'll shine their spotlight when they're flying.
For sure.
Yeah.
But again, that could have been just a helicopter. We don't know.
Right.
But I'm going to say it was strange.
It was strange.
Okay, so then
How far away do you think it was?
I'm
Undetermined?
the worst at distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. I mean, it wasn't real. It couldn't have been real close because there was like 10 radio
Yeah.
towers out
I
there.
think it was just past those. You know.
Yeah, it had to have been. Yeah, maybe even. I don't know. Maybe at least a half a mile or a mile away.
Okay. Well, that's.
I'm thinking. I don't know, because then I don't know if you could see a helicopter. You could see a helicopter, couldn't you, from about a mile away?
I don't know.
That was awfully bright, though.
It was bright. It could have been closer.
Yeah.
But
It was weird.
okay, so then moving on, later, so that we were kind of like, could be a helicopter. And then I looked over in the northwest and I saw like one little spot of bright light, and then I saw another one. So there was two. And so we were keeping an eye, but they were, Dylan had the binoculars and it was far away.
Yeah.
So we're like, Dylan couldn't get a visual to, I can't tell if it's what it is.
Right.
Okay, then all of a sudden from the east, this red light just comes, I mean, hauling ass.
Nice.
This
Yeah.
isn't and it's, so I'm going, okay, that's not a commercial airliner,
Yeah.
because that thing's moving way too
Yeah.
fast.
It took the sound a good amount of time to even catch up with us after
Right.
it passed. Like, it was going fast.
Yeah.
That's
So
sweet.
I'm thinking possibly, Dylan goes, that's a military aircraft. So
I think it's
it was going in the same direction as the two lights that we saw. So they just don't scramble F-16s or F-15s or F-14s or whatever they use. I don't, like I said, I use that as a generalized term.
Right.
They just don't scramble those for nothing. And I doubt that they were doing maneuvers, because there would have been more than one.
for sure.
And it was just one jet. I mean, it's like,
And right in the middle of the metro. I mean,
in the middle of the
yeah,
metro
yeah.
area, that would have been kind of odd and strange.
Yeah, because I was telling Keith, like, when I see them, typically it's during the day. Typically there's multiple, because it's a big aviation state.
right.
But normally they're just going on a path too. Like they're
Yeah.
doing landings and stuff. And I just wanted to say, I think it's really important to point out that Dylan actually knows a shit ton about airplanes.
Oh, that's awesome.
A lot.
That's
Yeah, he's
awesome.
like obsessed with them.
He's
He's a pilot. Wait, did he get his pilot's license?
no, he wanted to.
That's awesome.
And he did go for a while. He was helping this guy build a plane in this hangar,
That's awesome.
and he took some type of aviation class, and
That's incredible.
yeah, so he knows, like, so if Dylan tells me, because that's why what is it? And Dylan, that's a military. If Dylan says it's a military jet, it's a military jet.
Right,
So
right.
he knows his shit about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that was strange. So it looked like to me they scrambled a jet to,
Mhm.
I mean, this probably happens all the time. We just never
Yeah.
know it. We're not going to be paying attention in the sky,
Absolutely.
really looking at stuff like that. It'd be nice if I wish they would just come out and say, okay, yeah, guys, we have UFOs, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they're not
yeah.
going to do that.
Well, how often do you see him without a partner?
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, weird. And so the other thing that happened was he was talking about the lights going out.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
and as soon as he said something about the light going out, now what was weird, the furthest light that kept going on and off?
Yeah.
The one when you said it was the
It was
closest
closer.
one to us.
Right.
Went off.
Right.
And then it came back. And so I was like, oh. And then when he brought that up, that happened. And then the other thing I saw from my peripheral, I saw a red, and it wasn't a craft or anything. After I watched the show, I thought, oh, they're probably thinking saying a UFO was flying in the neighborhood, but no, it was like a
Orb?
like a
Like
little
a
about
laser pointer almost.
almost like a laser pointer, but it wasn't a laser pointer.
Right.
Because it went real fast from that White House to the street, and when it got to the street, then that other stuff,
Yeah.
the one that was connected to that one, went off.
I caught the tail end of that. I saw the light turn off.
Yeah, and it went off.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure.
In the area where the red light was.
Yeah.
It was like the red light went towards it, and
It-
boom, the light goes
boom.
out.
It's like it turned off as it gotten its,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was strange. So we gotta do another one. Go out there sometime.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'd like I said yesterday, it'd be cool if we could like find some farmland or something where we don't have the street lights.
Yeah.
But then again, at that point, then we do have to get like probably tripods and very, very expensive
for sure.
lenses too.
Well, I mean,
because now you're talking about the night. I mean, you're talking about stars and
Yeah.
the moonlight, and that's all you're
is,
going to get.
is that like the village area?
Yeah.
Because I lived
Look
on,
past it.
I lived on that far,
Yeah.
like the east side of the village.
Yeah,
I
live
lived.
right by the train tracks.
Oh, do you?
Like,
Yeah.
You can throw a rock and hit them.
Okay, I lived like 4 or 5 blocks away when
Oh,
me
wow.
and Cass lived in the village. We were right kind of by
Oh,
that
is that
area.
where that was?
Yeah, we were right past a street, and then it's like a kind of like a part of the neighborhood, and then the train tracks right there.
Yeah.
So we were like, and then it's like Nichols Hills.
I know.
Yeah.
So, but
It's a steep incline
yeah,
or
yeah.
fast drop off.
Right,
Which
but
direction
it's
you're coming.
honestly like I was telling him before the show, I have a special place in my heart for the village.
Yeah.
My thing is, it's been around a really long time. Like it's an area of the city that's been around a long time. It's bustling.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of energy going
A
on,
lot of history.
a lot of history. So to me, it just kind of that's why I want to go out there. I want to see what it feels like. Like I wonder if it feels a bit heavy and energetic. You know, like when you were out there, did you feel that?
I didn't feel anything
Uncertainty
weird.
in the air, nothing.
No, I did. I mean, but I can only easily feel negativity. Now, if I walk,
Yeah.
like there's been certain places I've walked in, like oh, this feels not
You
right.
get that hair.
Lady Ann's oddities used to do that to me.
Really?
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
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 I'd go in there and the feeling of this real heavy, but shit, dude, they
Huh.
had like upside down crosses, skulls. They
Yeah.
sold a little bit of everything,
Right.
of all sorts of different, like they had a lot of occult stuff in there.
Yeah, that stuff kind of
And
me out.
yeah, I couldn't, and my wife at the time, she almost passed out in there,
Really?
and I had to get her out. Yeah,
Wow,
and I
that's
felt the
crazy.
same, and I was like, man, it feels weird
Just
in
like
here.
concentrated anxiety almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was like I had this thickness, heaviness, kind of like I've told people when my house was haunted, like there's certain rooms you walk in and feel like you're walking in tar or
Insane.
you're walking in
Yeah,
water.
that's a good way to.
It's
insane.
like thick.
That's good. Yeah.
So yeah.
For sure.
So
Well,
any-
I was just curious about that because it seems like a lot of energy, a lot of different things going on there. Lights,
Yeah, yeah.
movement, lights going off.
And there's all those TV towers.
TV
up
tower,
there.
yeah, because news is right there. And exactly. And I was telling you before the show, it takes a lot of energy to run lights and to turn lights off. So there has to be a place where, if we can all see it, you guys
Yeah.
saw it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah, there was. I mean, there's something weird, and I was kind of wondering if maybe it was the area, but we had talked earlier. You said that.
Yeah.
So have you had other encounters with UFOs other than that place?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so share some of that with us.
So my mom's house in Yukon.
Okay, I know where that's at.
There, I'd almost say it's more of a thing there.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's heavier populated, isn't it? I mean,
I'd say so.
yeah.
That area, yeah, compared to where I'm at.
yeah,
yeah.
and we're not that far from that area.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Straight down Mustang Road.
There are two particular streetlights that constantly do that thing, and I've been asking my mom to check every night. Does that
See if they're light
does that
sensor.
happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that happen when I'm not around? Am I crazy? I need to know. And I've never seen it do that. Not once.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Because I know they do, like I said, on the highway the other day, I noticed those are light censored.
Yeah.
Like those will
absolutely.
come off and on. I noticed that. And I was like, oh, I can tell Jered.
Yeah,
that's
for
probably what
sure.
that was.
We've
Yeah, I
had,
appreciate that.
But-
so I've had one person, Larry.
Yeah, go ahead and tell him that
Larry
story.
is my best friend forever, and Keith knows him really
What
well.
up, Larry?
Yeah, what up,
Yeah.
Larry? Larry Bear. No, but he has that, and I've actually witnessed it. And I mean, you talk about somebody that's skeptical. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he's the most open-minded person ever, but he'll be like, "Fuck that, that's not a,"
Right.
dude. Until it's like happening to him, he's like, "Dude, why are all the lights turning off
Yeah,
for me?"
it's
Yeah.
trippy. Yeah.
Go, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's,
We had another.
that's for you, Larry, if you're
well,
watching.
We had another guest though. We had another guest on here, and I can't remember. We've just had so many damn shows where this happened to as well with the lights turning off when they walk by.
That's what I was telling you yesterday. It's a phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's something weird that people. Man,
It
I
actually
wonder,
happens,
is it like the electrical energy we're putting off, or what is
I
that
don't
exactly?
know.
And what do you?
It's-
So let's start let's kind of start at the beginning. First,
Okay.
let's start with your paranormal stuff, okay?
Okay.
Because his dad was a friend of mine, or is a friend of mine, and we played together in a band, and we used to rehearse at his house. Now we had some weird things happen there, and he also, I remember, something flew off the countertop or something because he actually went on Facebook about it. I think.
That happened several times. Like brand new wine bottle would just pop open and the
Yeah.
cork would fly in the living room, or
Yeah, because
you'd hear like the trash can would
God
knock
dang
over.
it.
yeah, and he was scared.
Yeah.
he was because I tell by
Yeah.
him writing he was terrified.
Yeah, I never felt that way.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I think it's how we perceive it too. Is it
Yeah.
a bad spirit or is it just well, we think it was a kid spirit, correct?
Right.
So tell me, okay, so anyway,
Or life experience.
let me give them a real quick background. They moved to this house. Is that when did stuff start happening right away at that house?
I don't know actually, because I was like maybe two.
Okay. And you lived there until
a long.
I mean you're in your 20s, right?
I'm 32, but I lived there a lot.
Okay. So anyway, so they had now who saw, because your father told me it was a redhead kid.
They say that. He says that. I don't remember that. I don't remember, other than maybe one time seeing something of a shadow. I don't remember seeing like a
actual person.
Right.
Okay, so you never saw an apparition, but did you witness any of the things that your dad had talked about?
Absolutely. It very much felt like it was. If I was upset, I would get this like almost like not adrenaline, but like if you were to go down a roller coaster, you know how you get that,
Yeah.
but without the roller coaster,
Right,
just,
for sure.
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere.
Sinking feeling in
Do you want anything to drink?
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
It's a diet.
it does. That's fine.
You gave him there's a Dr. Pepper Zero.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, I don't ever remember feeling any kind of threat. And I remember having friends over, and you know,
Well, I think, don't you think a lot of it though? I mean, your normal person is like, for instance, if these lights started blinking on and off, although that's not threatening, it would scare the normal person.
It's startling, yeah.
It starts fear.
Yeah.
So I think it's all how it's perceived.
Yeah, but
I
the
think
other thing-
spirits also, what they like to do is like, hey, I'm here. They're trying to get your attention, is what I think.
Well, and the other
How
thing,
else would they? You know,
Right.
That's all they can do, because their vibration is moving so fast that you can't see them.
I mean, if you're living this though as a child, your perception of it will be vastly different than your father's, who has lived his entire life, maybe without ever having it, maybe with having it, and then it happening to, or your friends. I mean, they come over to your house and a wine bottle flies, or corkscrew flies in the living room. You're like, okay. Like for you, you're like, oh, you know, like it happened. For them, they're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I've only seen Sinister or whatever movie, you know.
Yeah, Scott, if you're in the chat room today, Scott Johnson was a singer in the band, and I can't remember if it had something to do with his guitar or the cymbals or something. We went out at that time. I was a smoker. And so I'd go out and take my smoke break, and everybody go out and we just kind of talk about the song or whatever. And we came back in, there was something different. And Scott, if you're on here, man, put that in the chat room about that little experience we had. That was pretty weird. Cause Scott witnessed something as well over there.
Yeah. Like during a rehearsal.
Yeah. When we was rehearsing, it was weird. We stepped out and then we came back in and something had been moved, and we all left together and came back in. So yeah.
That's weird.
Now, is your mother still having any paranormal stuff going on?
No.
Okay, so it's probably attracted to you.
Yeah, I have a bit of a theory from stuff I've read, and it's just we were talking about trauma.
Right.
Right. So I was born a little over a month early, and I didn't have lungs developed, and so not to be dramatic, but you know, coming into this world with trauma.
It wasn't easy.
So,
yeah.
You struggled.
I think that's a big part of it. Like, I don't know.
I get that. I was talking to him a little bit about that before the show. Because I was asking him, I always refer back to like the energy type of things, right? Because I feel like there has to be some correlation between these things. I say these things. That's kind of disrespectful to spirits. Sorry, spirit.
We don't know what they call us.
Yeah, true. yeah.
My sage candle, by the way.
Yes, good. No, but I mean, I find that really interesting. I was wondering if it's like an emotional thing, because when we're going through trauma, it's obviously an emotion. Even as a child, a baby, when we don't understand emotions, that's our nature as humans, right?
Yeah.
That's how we defend and react. So I'm curious if when somebody has trauma or even an illness or like you were born with your lungs underdeveloped, if the spirits are able to attach to that and want to attach to that more, right?
Yeah, or maybe keep. I mean, who knows? I mean,
Guardian angel, bro.
Yeah,
Guardian angel, guarantee it.
I mean, how do we
I'm all
not
the
know
angel
that
numbers and
aliens
stuff.
are? Maybe they are our creators.
Yes.
I'm definitely
Maybe
down that rabbit hole.
Maybe they keep an eye on us.
They seem to know more about us than we do.
Yeah,
For sure.
Definitely, they're way smarter. I watched a show the other day, man. Very interesting. Not to get off topic. Watch, we'll start losing.
Here we go. No, I'm just kidding.
He's like, now we lose like 10 people.
Yeah.
No, but they talked about finding civilizations.
Yes.
Deep under the earth, right?
Yeah.
Where
Gobekli Tepe or whatever.
Yeah, Gobekli Tepe is one. But they think that possibly that civilization was had way more technology than what we did.
Right.
Something hits the earth, destroys it, and then we start over as cavemen.
It's
right?
A cycle, right?
And then we have to evolve ourselves. Where this, other whatever civilization was completely way above us in technology.
Yeah.
Well, Bob Lazar said that some of the craft they recovered were archaeological digs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that could
I
be.
believe that.
I do too. Well, and I think that, obviously interstellar travel by that time in the future, we're obviously going down that path with physics.
You put this on the
mic stand.
Yeah, it was a mic. I'm sorry to cut you off, Garrett, but Garrett's story was probably boring anyway.
Yes.
It was the mic stand spinning in front of me and Jerry.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, your dad.
Classic, though.
Yeah.
Classic, the old spinning object.
Yeah, I do remember that, Scott. I couldn't remember why it had happened, but that's weird.
And it's weird that spinning is always a thing too, because it takes extreme balance to do that, right?
Often, anybody who, just on a quick side note, anybody who wants to dig into the science of this stuff, I'm gonna recommend a show called Generation Z, and it's very much akin. And I think maybe if there's a way that I could hook y'all up, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome, dude.
Absolutely. Awesome. I'd love to know the science behind a lot of it, or if there is. How do we know there even is science behind this?
I truly believe there is. And I truly believe that some people have kind of cracked it in a way. I don't think we'll ever know the complete picture, but I am at a point now where I'm reading about these things might be some kind of plasma, right? And
that's how you time travel, by the way.
Plasma,
bombarded
plasma
by
is sentient. Anyway, sorry, I got way off, but no, back to the paranormal stuff. Sorry.
So anyway, so you're growing up in this house,
right?
What age did you have your first experience at your house, and what was it?
So the first one I remember is just having an imaginary friend, and I don't remember.
With Jered, we all had imaginary friends.
But my mom will tell you the first time that anything weird happened was I was talking about I had a friend named Ike that lived in the attic, and then I believe it was like cue noises from the attic right when she said it.
Okay, so how old are you at this point?
3 maybe.
3
maybe. So I don't remember this, but I definitely remember in middle school I had friends over, and I try to be cool and tell them there's a ghost in our house.
Yeah.
They'd be like, whatever, that's not true, bullshit. And then we'd physically watch the knob on the stereo turn down, and then all the pictures on one side of the hallway fly off the wall.
Okay, that's crazy.
And then we left. Yeah, that one did freak me out.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're what, a teenager at this time?
12, maybe 13.
12 or 13.
Sixth grade, I'd say 6th
Pivotal age.
Yep.
Pivotal age.
Yeah, that is. Okay, so how many things has happened to you at that house? I mean, if you're just taking a ballpark guess. And did you ever have it? You said you never felt threatened by it, right?
No.
There was no time that it ever scared you.
There was a time where I felt something else in the house, and it terrified me like I've never been scared in my life. I
know that feeling. That's just an
but
awful
this
feeling.
thing we're talking about, not once, not ever. I mean, it was like a jump scare kind of thing, or get freaked out for a minute. But it was always a novelty, and it always felt like a practical joke. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that you felt something else in the house at one time, and that was scary, but that this other thing. So, you in your feelings, the way you feel towards this, you can separate those two just because of how it made you feel.
Right.
I am right there with you. So I was extremely skeptical coming in until I walked into Keith's house one time and then changed my life forever. So I decided I'm going to take K2 to my house with my friend Larry. And
tell the people what a K2 is.
A K2, I can't explain.
It's electromagnet field detector.
Yeah.
So basically, they say ghost is energy, and if it gets close to it, it starts these lights go off. So go ahead.
Yeah, these lights go off. You know what? 1 is yes, 2 is no, something like that.
Right.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah. And it had worked a lot at his house.
I got one in the top drawer over there.
Don't.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Don't you touch it.
Well, if we get back into doing some live stuff, which I think you guys agree that was fun yesterday.
Yeah,
and
for
we
sure.
had a lot of people watching. And one of my best friends said, "Hey, man, that was so much fun." And so I think we need to do more on location
For
stuff.
sure.
Let me quickly say, like, having a community where you can actually talk about these things is huge.
That should make you feel good.
Yeah. Like this, Keith, this has been huge for me. Just like since we've reconnected.
Yeah.
Like this has meant a lot.
Yeah, you seemed like you were questioning your sanity a little bit when I was talking to you.
Well, it makes
some people I love very much.
Yeah.
Telling me to.
Well, it makes sense.
I get it.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
it's because they're not experiencing or going through.
Right.
And it like I had the same thing, dude. I had stuff happen when I was 15. Now, when I was 15, it was 1979. You know, you didn't talk about that stuff.
Right.
And my first UFO encounter, it was 1977. I was 12. And who do you tell? Yeah, because you know you're a 12-year-old. If you're telling an adult, they're not going to believe you.
Absolutely,
they think you're out of your mind. But yeah, so I get it. So no, man, you're amongst family here.
Yeah,
so.
Hey, I just want to tell you one thing really fast. So when we did the K2 at our house with Larry,
I'm sorry about that.
Jesus Christ, Keith, I'm just kidding. No. So what we did though is it was crazy because that night we had somebody actually responding. It was insane, dude. It was like
awesome.
Perfect. And Larry, sorry, Larry was like freaking out. Oh my God, this is nuts. And it was such a good feeling. It was like a great grandmother feeling, like the lights rolled. It was insane. So the next time we say, the next time we say, let's do it again. Same person comes through, different feeling, which then turned to kind of like chaos. Like honestly, the thing starts answering and lying and doing weird stuff. And so it was crazy how this spirit through the K2 was answering questions as somebody else.
Right.
The feeling within us and around us, we were obviously able to tell like that's different.
But you also have to think too that possibly when you open that door, let's say it could have been 2 entities. When you open that door, the thing is, people have to be careful. You don't walk around going, "Are there any spirits?"
Because we were hammered the second night, and Larry was like, "You're lying to me." So I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, when drunk's not a good time to do it. But
that comforting feeling,
yes,
that's what like you should really hang your hat on. I think that's the linchpin to all this paranormal stuff is everybody gets wrapped up in the fear, and when you get wrapped up in the fear, that's when you can manifest fearful things.
It will reflect what your reaction. It will in a way reflect it back on.
Right. So it takes actually a lot. People think that because we do paranormal, we're all over the place, but really it takes a lot of inward like kind of reflection to understand it. Right. Yeah. So I think it's important.
I do too. So go ahead. I'm sorry. We just.
Oh, you're good. I love.
But welcome to the family.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah.
Cheers.
So you guys start. Yeah. You guys start tuning in now. You got to like and subscribe.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't. Right. And the thing is, I don't monetize this, so we don't do this for money. So
that's awesome.
This is why we do it.
And that gives, I think, that gives a little more validity. So when me and Garrett, if we go out and do something like perhaps like what we did at your house. You know, if I won a lot of views, I go, I would have lied my ass off, right? And
it's
so,
the craft, right?
Yeah, get those viewers in, get that ad,
I would have walked out
ad revenue going.
I would have walked out in a big alien outfit at the end. Like, that's what
next time. Yeah,
you know, next time we should do that just for. We should do that next time just for fun, though.
I'll fall out of the sky. Somebody drop me.
Yeah, we'll get a crane operator. Okay, and release.
Well, this is really important though because I've seen the real funny story is when we very first started this show, we did a Bigfoot episode. And I actually looked at it today and there's one comment on there that's like, I wish that guy would stop laughing. I couldn't even handle it. Now, because of this show, I'm like, oh, dude, lack of evidence isn't evidence.
Right.
Just because you can't explain something doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
I will never ever doubt someone's personal story again unless
Yeah.
they're obviously full of shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you probably get that feeling, right?
I think you can
I don't
tell.
know you. I
Yeah.
would be able to tell. I read people really well. I don't know you. I would be like, right now, I'll be like, hey Keith, let's cut the show.
No, I've known him for a long time, and he's always been honest. He's a sweet guy, nice person. So when he told me when we talked, well, it was a couple of weeks ago, I guess 2 or 3 weeks ago, and so I totally that's why I sent that stuff going, okay, here's what's possibly going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're not
Energy
crazy.
is powerful, man. Energy is super powerful. We've seen it time and time again on the show with mediums, with like, dude, even our true crime, dude. Like there's energy that goes into all these things. Extremely powerful. So if you're encountering these kind of things, it just means there's a lot of energy around you.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So when and I already asked you this, I think, but I don't know if I may have been drinking coffee or something. But no, I was listening, I promise. No, like, so you said you hadn't really had a fearful thing that happened to you, right? So
No.
Okay, so I was just gonna say, was there anything that just like
dreams?
Okay, what was the
dreams are weird. Dreams are a whole
I just asked a question.
Huh?
I asked a question about dreams.
Go ahead.
The scary thing I had. So occasionally I have like sleep paralysis.
Oh, my brother has ACEs.
But
I've had that once. It's horrible.
It is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And there's only one time though that truly felt like it was not a dream, and like I didn't wake up. I was young. I was maybe 9th or 10th grade, I would want to say, and I woke up and I was frozen with fear, and I didn't wake up from that. Like all of a sudden I was free and I was just beating on the wall trying to get someone to come in there, and I don't think it's probably a year before I ever mentioned it. It was just like, even now I can see it wasn't even. It's not like it was the boogeyman. It was just this shadow thing, and it was a trip.
Oh,
shadow figure.
Hey, we shadow people.
Shadow people.
Have we done a show about that?
No, but we've had like Carl Johnson's talked about it.
Right.
Like we've had like demonologists talk about it.
Yeah, they say. Well, they say the shadow people. I mean, I've heard both sides. I've heard the shadow people or like some of the evil entities. And I've heard other people say that's not true. So I mean,
the brain's a fascinating thing, and we talk about.
I think it's just like we talked about how you're going to comprehend it as a person. I think. I mean, if I saw a huge shadow in my hallway, I'm like, fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, as a species, we should always have a little bit of fear in you in order. Otherwise, if you had no fear, you wouldn't last very long.
Flight,
yeah, exactly. So if you're experiencing this in sleep, which shadow people oftentimes are when you're waking up or within a dream, it could be a part of your brain.
Yeah.
That, hopefully.
Well, that's like the whole Carl Jung thing. He refers to the subconscious as the shadow.
Right.
So, like, but I was a kid. I didn't even know what shadow people were.
For sure.
But I don't know what I don't pretend to know. I maybe have some opinions, but those constantly change. I feel like.
Well, thank God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seriously.
But there's definitely almost like you're talking about energy. There was almost an energy signature to the thing that was steady at my parents.
Right.
And it's like
you could pick up on it.
Yeah, I knew it. I just get that feeling. And then I'd look over, my cat's staring.
Right.
But there was a long time where nothing really happened.
I was gonna ask that. So there was a period of time where it just kind of.
When I was going to college, I was doing the music school thing and everything. I don't remember much.
You're a musical director, aren't you?
Almost. I'm almost a band director.
Yeah, this guy, man, talented.
But unfortunately, my cousin passed maybe 6 years ago now, and I don't have siblings. Like I had him.
Yeah.
And like things started picking back up again. It was like something was trying to. It's like a reassuring feeling, right?
I got some.
Okay, well, that's good though. I mean,
yeah.
Because what I'm saying about Guardian Angel, my twin brother died December 5th.
Do you want to share? I mean, I don't think you've ever shared the story with the people about
the
event. He had a crazy event happen after his twin.
And it kind of goes along with what you're saying. So
yeah, go ahead. Tell
my twin bryer, he was handicapped his entire life. Never walked, never talked. I'm 37. I'm an old man.
You're only 5 years older than Jered.
I was looking at you when I said that.
I'm the old man.
So Nate passes away. Obviously, he affected a lot of people over his lifetime. An outpouring of love for somebody that never walked or talked, right? Like
Right.
it
That's
changed
a
a lot of
beautiful
life.
thing.
It was insane.
Yeah.
And he had some things throughout the years, kind of paranormal happen, through surgeries and things where somebody would be there and then they would be gone. We didn't know who they were.
Wow.
Just odd things. And so
Do you kind of play them off though?
no, well, we're
Or-
Catholic, so
Okay.
my family's like, hey, it was a ghost, and so
Okay.
but no, like it's not something we like really think about or anything like that. So all
Right.
these years later, he passes away. Obviously, a lot of emotion going on. That night, that evening, we get home, and me and my wife were just talking. Actually, all the kids went to bed. We said it was actually a really good conversation. Everything was upbeat, not sad at all. And then the lamp out of nowhere starts going every time I'm talking. I'm actually really passionate. It starts really going fast. And then it stops. And I'm like, okay. Well, I look behind my wife and it's Christmas. I had Christmas lights
Yeah.
all over. It's the first time we've ever put Christmas lights on an entire wall. And they're just blinking.
And they're still there, by the way.
Yeah, no, we took them down. And so they're blinking perfectly in rhythm, which to this day, or they're not up anymore, but they never happened after that. And they had never happened before. It's something
Wow.
we definitely would have noticed. I have little kids. They
Yeah.
were like, why is there blinking?
No
Why is the
doubt.
wall blinking? Never happened.
Yeah.
And so we're just kind of, because of the show and the experiences we've had, we're kind of like in tune with these things. We kind of
Yeah.
just letting it happen. We're not fighting it. Now it's interesting. We're talking a lot about life. Anytime we start to talk about our careers or business, whatever, the light would just stop. Had nothing to do with it. No, I'll tell you, I have never seen that light as bright before.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've never done. I watch a lot of shows about drugs and stuff, intervention and stuff. I've never done heroin. I know a lot about it just from these shows.
Right.
But honestly, I told my wife in the moment, I said, this is what it sounds like when you hear somebody that has like taken heroin or like the best opioid ever, right?
Wow.
It was this feeling that I'd never felt of being okay and comfortable. My wife was experiencing the same thing just 6 feet away. And it happened. And basically it could have just continued until we had to go to bed, of course.
Wow.
It's happened once or twice since, very just hints of it. But like I told my wife, my theory is that because Nathan was never able to outwardly communicate, is that when he passed, his energy was bottled up and he was able to actually activate and like immediately, right?
Wow.
And so even now, though, like, dude, so it's funny how like it was. Yeah, we were goosebumps. We all had goosebumps, which is oftentimes they say that's verifying that there's something around. But we do a lot of karaoke. You know that we love karaoke.
Oh God, yeah, you should be over there.
Dude, I'm hitting a karaoke song the other night.
They can't sing worth a shit.
Oh, dude, I have been practicing
I'm teasing.
every day. And but anytime I know I was telling Cassis the other day, she noticed it actually when we're like really into it, because we how we are.
Yeah.
We're passionate people.
They're funny.
That light will just start to pulsate. Brightest I've ever seen in my life.
That's cool, man.
So yeah, that's going to that point though where it's like these things are going off of emotions and all the little nooks and crannies where they can get in and get that energy and say, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like the bite mark, like like somebody had told you. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe
I don't know.
like shit.
It
get
hurt.
a hold of him.
it hurt at the time when I had it. So
I know, but I mean, have you seen the movie Interstellar with Matt?
One of my all-time.
Okay, one of the best movies ever made, dude. And it's actually kind of crazy because it could be real. Like that could actually happen.
Absolutely.
String theory, this shit.
I
So
believe the science of that.
I do too. So when he's hitting the books, like trying to communicate.
Yeah, and the Akashic records.
Yeah.
Akashic records,
So you would like in that desperate moment trying to communicate to somebody, you would do whatever it took.
you had to.
Right, for
Whatever
sure.
you had to.
So I get it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you got that good feeling and not that bad feeling because
Yeah.
I got that at Keith's, that bad, heavy feeling. It was
there
intense.
was kind of a very thick feeling.
That's
my
why the
house.
bite
I think there
wasn't-
was more than
yeah.
one entity.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think there were revolving doors.
I think we had a child entity. I mean, because a lot of times it was like playing with the kids' toys. Like we had a caterpillar.
Oh wow.
That it would light
crazy.
up and play a song only if you pulled it. So if we were like me and my wife would be in the bedroom,
That's
we'd hear that little caterpillar
creepy.
going off.
Guitars.
And we had a Mr. Game Show guy.
Oh, that's the creepiest one.
Yeah, that one was crazy. It basically it was this little robot guy that stood up and he had like a suit on, and when you started the game, you had these cards, and you go, "It's time for Mr. Game Show."
Oh wow!
And so at like 2 or 3 in the morning, this thing would just go
It's time
off.
for Mr. Game Show.
Yeah,
that
so
would
Mr.
scare
Game
me.
Show went in a trash can.
Yeah, he did.
And he had a spirit box,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's what really.
I don't mess with that anymore.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't touch the spirit box.
I don't mess with
Yeah.
that one anymore. That's the one I think I told you about.
Yeah,
the
you scared
I'm
me
evil
away from
entity.
him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you want to be super careful. And even, man, you just don't know what you're messing with because, like I said,
Right.
when people say, are there any spirits, you're asking, now, when you say that, you're asking for evil, good,
Any.
bad, honorary,
Right.
anything. You're,
Right.
But if you're supposed to say spirits from a white light, right?
Right.
And no negative
know
energy
that.
allowed, because I do believe that we are big creators.
Yes.
So I believe we can create a barrier
Yes.
in front of us for negativity to stay away.
Yes.
And so
Well,
it's very important.
And
that,
that's what
Yeah.
Carl Johnson. I always refer back to the what's it called? The what's that thing called that you used to heat with? You heat your house with the furnace. I
Yeah.
always refer back to Carl Johnson talking about the furnace as a child, where it would make noises over time. He was down in the bed by himself, and over time,
Mhm.
every now and then he'd be like, "Wait, is that a ghost? Oh, it's just the furnace." But over years and years, all of a sudden, 2 years later, he's like, "There's a ghost coming down." Yeah, because he's manifested and created this.
Oh yeah, I totally believe that.
Yeah, that's one of our biggest. We talk about that a lot. Is sometimes if you're looking for something, I think you will find it.
Yep.
And that goes with a career. That goes with anything.
Yeah, I think you're
So
right.
if you're ghost hunting and you're dead set on finding something, how do we know we're not manifesting some type of energy
That's a very good point.
that's communicating with us? Possibly. That's what I think. Possibly it could be.
Yeah, that's a trip. Yeah.
It is.
I got to give you a link to. There was a very, very interesting. There's a show called Kindred Spirits. I don't know if you've ever watched it.
Yeah.
There's an episode where they go to this house, and there's this. It's called the Zombie Boy. People talked about the
Okay.
Zombie Boy, right?
Huh.
And it's this legend or myth or whatever it was. People talked about it for years and years. And so they went in there, and they said, "Let's make up a scenario." He said, "Let's sit in a room." And he goes, and let's make up this whole story, and let's
Yeah.
see what happens. And we'll do an we'll do like an EVP session.
Oh wow.
So they go, okay, so Edward used to live here. He was riding his horse. He had a horrible accident, and he was killed. And his dad was in the Civil War, and he died in the Civil War. And his mother was named Margaret. So they leave the room for a while. They come back and they go to investigate the barn, I think. And then they come back to the room. They get out the recorder, and they go, "Can you tell us the name of this of who you are?" And it said Edward. Okay, they said that, and they said, it says something about like, was your dad or how did your father die? I was like,
no way.
So everything they repeated, so that, and to me that was groundbreaking, and they even said, we got to be really careful about this. About coming in, and because we just created that everything they asked the question about that retained to the story, the spirit was repeating it back to them.
Wow.
I mean, that's the holy water thing.
I've heard this theory. You hear these metamaterials dropping from UFOs, right?
Please tell us.
No, tell them.
Oh, well,
educate me.
Okay, so look up a guy named Luis Elizondo, and a guy named Sean Cahill, and a guy named Dave Rossi, Rossi.
Okay.
So the government has basically, they said, yeah, there's something we don't know what it is. Well, there's supposedly crash retrievals, and they've not denied this stuff. They've kind of just let it be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that Tom DeLonge guy,
from
Blink 182.
Blink 182.
So he kind of was the first one besides Art Bell, who's like, I have pieces of one of these.
I have a picture of Art Bell.
He's
the best, wasn't he?
He was.
God bless him.
For sure. For you, Art.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. It's like sometimes I'll see these craft almost dripping like this. It looks like lava or whatever, like it's dripping light. And supposedly we've gone and recovered some of these things. And if these are the things that created us, could they be?
Go for it.
No,
Say
go
it.
for it,
Do you
dude.
have a lot
You're-
of religious people?
You're
Dude, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Hey, this
So
whatever your beliefs are is fine. I've started this channel for people like us.
right.
Okay, so
Okay.
you're
Well,
fine. If they
It's just a avenue of thought to explore. But like, so if these things are falling and they're from our creators and we're trying to back engineer it, is that not back engineering something from the mind of God?
Yeah, it is.
So when it drops that, what if it dropped the entire history of a religion and it did not exist until,
I see what you're
you
saying.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So,
and it
like-
goes back to that manifesting thing.
Yes.
And that's what your story makes me think of is
yeah,
what if there's something like that on the
is
reverse end?
man, dude, it could be anything.
I don't.
That's the
yeah,
thing is, and
anything.
if we're not gonna, I guess, hopefully we get the answers when we die. But
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
we consider and speculate, and that's what's fun about doing this.
Yeah, the joys in the journey for sure.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And hopefully, me and Garrett always talk about. Do you think we'll know everything when we die? Like, who's a Zodiac killer? I
For
want to
real,
know.
I want to
I
know
wanna-
that stuff.
Yeah.
But then I've talked to people who said, oh, when you cross over that stuff, you're not even going to care.
You're not
about
gonna be
it. I was like,
worried
yeah,
about
I
the
am.
Zodiac
Yeah, no, I'm the
killer.
same way. I'm like,
I
most
want my
people maybe,
same-
but me.
Yeah, I want when I pass over, man. I want my own identity as Keith. I want to be still this person.
Well,
Know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't want to be some weird robot,
Yeah, I think-
program to.
I think a lot of people don't feel that way, but like I like me. I love me.
Yeah,
You know, I think that's
Well, that's
I
to,
think
to
we-
your point about religion, though. Isn't that the most religious thing ever? And so that's why it's funny when there's naysayers or anybody that's
Yeah.
pushing back, is because oftentimes the people that are worried about the human thing are the most quote unquote by the textbook religious,
yeah.
whereas other people are experiencing and they're pushing
Yeah.
the limits, right? Which is asking questions is massively important. I was going to mention one thing. We don't do near death experiences. We have people on.
we try to simulate near death.
Yeah.
Like I kill Garrett for a
Yeah.
little bit. I strangle him.
Yeah, just for a little bit.
So
Just for a
far.
little bit. Yeah. And so, no, but we had these people on. Well, we had a really interesting experience. A guy had an experience where he actually, so two things. He was able to go in, there's all these TVs, almost like in an amphitheater, and he was able to see things from the history of humanity. But then he also, when he went to the amphitheater, that was when he actually was seeing a bunch of different planets, like millions of them.
Wow.
And he was actually a Christian, and so that was
Yeah.
kind of jarring for him, and something that he's had to kind of deal with after
Yeah.
this experience years later. What were those planets? Like,
Yeah.
so it's very interesting.
But also, I mean, okay, so let's talk about technology, like flat screen TVs, right?
Yeah.
So when this guy had a near death
In
experience,
the early
he
90s.
says no, I think it was the late 80s.
Oh, late 80s. Yeah.
I think it's
yeah,
the late
yeah.
80s, right? He
Uh-huh.
said what these angels were watching, it looked like what a big screen television looks like now.
Huh.
And basically, you could pull that. He said God records everything. It's all up.
Right.
It's all up
The
there.
Akashic records. Yeah.
So you can go through, like, if there's you want to watch the invasion of Normandy, although I think that would be kind of a bloody thing to watch, but
Right.
it's part of history that he said you can watch it. You can watch whatever you
Wow.
want to. And this girl, he said that he saw a female spirit and she was watching some type of history thing. And he said he felt stupid because she goes, "Is it anything you'd like to see?" And he goes, "I don't know." You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
he was so dumbfounded because
what do you? Yeah. Like
I would start, I don't know,
Beatles, 1964.
Beatles 1964. Yeah, I'd be, I want to be on the plane. I want to hear
Yeah.
them talking.
Be at
What was
Shea
that like?
Stadium.
Yeah, I'd be there for
To
sure.
me, that almost feels like a little transfer portal that he was going through, though, because if you really find the light in, the nirvana, like in, reincarnation, right? You continue to cycle until you cycle
Yeah.
out, find nirvana.
Right.
I just don't see I'm the biggest sports fan ever, like
Yeah.
huge sports fan. But I think in that moment, it would be so baffling and crazy and insane that I would, that's why I think it was a
What do
transfer
you-
portal, because he was some human. There was a human element to
Yes.
him that would
Yeah.
have that curiosity to go see those things. Whereas once he hit that light, dude, there's no way he's trying to see Beatles
You're gonna-
1964. No matter how important it was, there would be no way.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
I mean, because can you imagine
are that
fucking
everything
aliens?
is one, yeah.
What?
no, So we were talking about, like, you said something about simulation, right?
Oh, we talk about simulation theory.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how I was going to connect this, but I'll just
Go
pretend
for
I
it.
did.
Do it.
So a lot of the it's all like semantics and like word choice, right? So you hear in the Bible, God was made in man's, or we were made in God's
image.
Is that
Yeah.
not a simulation? Is that not a simulation? So like all of this,
That's interesting.
it's all
Isn't
these
that the
things
definition of
and-
simulation, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and calling it a video game just freaks people out, but it's not a video game, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just people searching for something to call it.
Right.
And I don't know.
Well, I think that's a good point because earlier we were talking, I was thinking about this on the way over. I'm glad you guys brought it up about the ancient civilizations. You know, they're like levels down. They've had all this crazy architecture. What if instead of the Big Bang blowing all that stuff away and all that this happens, what if these people were dropped down? People, quote unquote, from the future, interstellar travelers, whatever.
Like a civilization.
Well, a team. Okay, a team like Single 7 was a part of. They drop them down. They help create these civilizations, and then they leave, only for us to deal with it. Now, if a big fucking meteor hits your planet, good luck. We'll come in and check on you, but that's when the simulation begins.
I don't like those odds.
That's like a Sims type thing. That's not like a first-person simulation. That's like we've created this environment for you guys to, you know, because we ask all the time, why would you want to come back as a spirit? If you were like, you know, able to go back and if you had all the answers, if you were already there, why would you want to come back? Well, maybe there's something on this earth that, this environment.
Yeah, but wouldn't we have that on the other side?
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, the thing is, to me, is like, and I've told my viewers and Garrett this every time, when I'm die, I don't want to come back here. Fuck that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But nothing.
There's too much heartbreak. There's too much, you know.
Exactly. That's the point, though.
And how can that be a lesson? And why would we need to learn that? Before? You know, that's what baffles my mind. Is if, like I was talking with you, and everybody knows how I feel. Is like, this is a precursor to what? Okay, so if everything's already 100% great on the other side, then why do I need to learn?
What kind of bullshit test is this?
Yeah.
But it goes along.
Unless we're given free will.
Well, it goes along the lines of reincarnation, where you're coming back and coming back and coming back until there's it's levels. Yeah. Not to go back to the simulation or games. No,
it's all semantics.
I love games. I'm a game guy.
The same place, no matter what we call it.
What if we were just entertainment for the aliens? That's all it was.
I mean, that's a theory.
Start hamming it up.
That's a theory. That is a theory.
We'll give them this book. It's called the Bible. Give them some hope, okay? You know,
we'll show them ourselves every now and then.
And let's watch these idiots kind of, you know. And once they die, they just burn away. They're gone.
For sure.
It just makes a lot of this stuff, though. Like when you look at the trajectory of humanity and how we think and technology. It just seems to be moving in this direction of, maybe someday we'll be able to travel interstellar and go somewhere where they're just starting out and help them build an awesome temple.
Absolutely.
And then leave. You know, like that's where it seems like it's going. So
unfortunately, though, it seems like we would just try to take over their resources. And
humans would.
Humans would.
I can't understand that.
Yeah. Well, I always told him, man, like once they say, hey, there's aliens, here's proof.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can see humanity becoming on the same page against a common. Because right now, it's like right now, you know, if aliens start coming down, everyone's like, okay, cool, yeah, don't worry about all that oil, bro. Let's share it. Let's share it. Yeah. We're screwed. Yeah. They're on hoverboards, man. Yeah, laser beams out of their eyes.
I'm under the impression that anti-gravity's been cracked a long time ago. And
I heard. In fact, it's funny you say that because I watched somebody that he claims he worked for the government, and he said, we cracked that back in the 40s or 50s. If
anyone wants to explore that avenue, Generation Z, look that guy Dave Rossi up.
Yeah, it might have been Dave Rossi that I watched, and it's like, can you? There's no end. If we solve that, man.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. What does that even look like? What does that make our future look like? For me, it almost levels the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we'll ever know about it until they find a way to.
No, and that's the shitty. I mean, you know, there's so much technology probably that's so far advanced that they already have that they're not sharing. Well,
they 100% do.
For instance, I mean, you know, you talk about electric cars and stuff. Well, we had that back. I mean, actually, in the 50s, someone invented an electric car, and you're like, nah, you're gonna put the oil business out. I mean, these old billionaires would kill you, or they'd buy your patent and they would shelf it up.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that probably happens a lot more than we know about.
Right. So, like you know, Tesla, he has all these cars and everything, and that's cool, but they're too damn expensive for one.
Yeah.
But even Bob Lazar, did you ever hear about his Corvette he made? He runs it off
Yeah.
of water he makes
Yeah.
hydrogen,
That
converts
guy's
it,
a genius.
doesn't even pay for gas.
That's
And he said, we've had
incredible.
this technology forever, but yet we can't use it. But think about if we did do something like that overnight, I mean, our economy would go.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would hit rock bottom.
Nothing would matter. It'd be like nobody. Yeah, it would be chaos.
It would kill us. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be. But I mean, it's interesting that because you would think slowly we would we invented electric cars, say late 40s, 50s, whatever, that we slowly start, gas guys, you can get involved in the electric thing
Let
if
them
you
in
want to
on
start
the
making
ground
electric
floor.
cars, and you guys of the oil get into the energy side, the electricity energy side of it or something.
Right.
And that we would evolve to that, but it hasn't been. But I think it's because of all the money that's they make off of pumping oil.
I think so.
And
why would they change it?
Money, I mean, when you get down to it, money really is the root of all evil.
Yes.
It changes people. I think they hold back secrets. You hear about this girl, and I don't know if someone probably bought her patent, but this is 15 years ago. This high school girl came up with charge a cell phone in 1 minute, fully charged.
Wow.
Okay, what happened to that?
Why don't we all have that?
That's because I guarantee you someone said, we'll give you $3 million for that patent.
Yep.
They buy the patent,
squash it.
Yeah.
Off and away it goes.
And we don't know where she was at. Maybe
Think about how many chargers.
The same thing, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, give me that money.
Right.
Hey, well, I mean, speaking of things that we don't know, Larry worked at Area 52. He did.
The guy we know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so developing, technology for the sky, air defense artillery.
I'd love to talk to him sometime. Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll bring him on.
Interesting guy.
Yeah.
He lives in Philly. We bring him on remotely. And that's when we play.
Please do it. That was perfect timing.
That's good. That's all.
No, so but when he was there, it was all the way out in Utah, in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And I mean, there were he was an officer. There were levels to this thing that he couldn't even go to.
Absolutely.
Like many levels.
Yeah.
Garages in the middle are door. Yeah, there you go. Door, massive doors opening in the side of mountains, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he confirmed a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, I think, when Bob Lazar is talking about how he clocked in, it measures the joints of your fingers, right?
Yeah.
And people are saying you're full of crap. Well, Larry actually said, in Ellis they have that.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
been confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff's been confirmed. So I don't think, and the guy, he's not tried to make money. He's not. He hates doing interviews.
His life has been ruined.
Yeah. Anybody that knows the story of Bob Lazar, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to hear Art Bell say my name?
Yes.
Couldn't do it without her key, and I wouldn't even try.
Hey, let me turn it again.
Couldn't do it without her key, and I wouldn't even try.
Awesome.
Raise your hand if you've actually talked to Art Bell, though.
Yeah.
Oh, Jered, man, you did it.
Oh no.
Oh, Jered.
Hey, I'm not like a huge fan like you guys. Keith had me call in.
I got 2 autographed books from Art, and I've got behind there. I got this huge picture of him.
Have you ever heard of Single 7, the Time Traveler?
I sent that to him. Did you listen to it?
I did. Yeah.
There's. He stopped talking to me too, by the way.
Yeah, there's just so much that seems awfully.
He moved on.
Yeah.
He just blocked Keith.
It's not as cut and dry as he was just saying.
Yeah.
There's something to that. There's something to him.
Well, there's so many, and he came on and not that he made me and Garrett feel stupid, but he's like, I can't believe you guys fell for that.
I was like, yeah, like 40 million people did, and I'm still convinced that you're a time traveler. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, when he talked about,
every time I see him, I'm like, you're still time
before Y2K. He said, because there's something I remember from history, like the sky's falling, everybody panics about something going on wrong with the computers, and it was exactly. That's what happened.
And dude, he talks about acronyms. I mean, come on, listen. I was in the Army.
But remember, he kept saying, "Well, we had LOL back in '98."
Got it, guy. But he also said he was in the Navy, and that's and it was like he's like, oh, everyone's. I was like, I was in the Army, and we use a ton of acronyms. But it's not like I walked around afterwards and was like, hey, blah 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 acronyms. You know what I mean? It's not like
everybody talks in acronyms.
But, and I was like, what, 2004 to 2009. So that was a time where we still weren't doing that many acronyms. Now it's like everything's fucking acronym.
Yeah.
Again,
I guess
trend.
I just don't know that interview that well.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah,
I've listened
dude.
to it probably 50 times
It's-
because I kept
Yeah.
thinking
It's remarkable if he's
it's
lying.
yeah. I mean, it was one of the because, and I felt me and Garrett had to. We found him, right?
Yeah.
We were looking for him for
a long
a
time.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like every show we ended with single 7 if you're out there, contact us, right? So
Yeah.
finally
Yeah.
I tracked him down through another YouTuber and got his information. He contacts me, calls me, and we're
Yeah, that's
talking.
awesome.
And he goes, "Yeah, it's all bullshit, man." He goes, "It's made all up." And I was like, and then I'm like with Garrett going, "Man, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people when
Right.
we actually, you know." And he was even saying, he goes, "You sure you want me to come on?" And he goes, I do want people to know." He said, because everybody has been wondering about my story back in '98. He goes, and it was
Yeah.
all BS.
Right.
And he goes, he goes, I felt bad. He said, because he goes, later in the interview, which they cut off, he said some old lady had called in and she was scared to death about the alien memes that were going to
wow.
come over. And so he said, he made me feel guilty. But he's one of those guys, man. It's just like,
Mysterious.
yeah, he said he was a prankster. He said they used to buy those clear balloons, like huge balloons. And he said we would just put like, fill them up full of blinking lights. And he goes, and we put helium in and send them out. And then and he said people would go, "Oh my God, there's a UFO."
Right.
But he
Call it
said,
in.
but yeah, he's one of those guys where it's like, I still kind of borderline. How do I know he's not coming on here and
Yeah.
just saying that? I don't.
For sure.
Right.
I don't know. But then again, he makes, like, he was telling Garrett, and I was like, he goes, "You guys really fell for that?" And it's like, oh, no, not really. No.
No, I really was like, I could see where you would be a time traveler. So
There was just, I mean, he was saying that, he goes, "Man, if you listen to that," he goes, "you can see where I slipped up a few times." And it's
come
like,
on,
dude, you had an answer for every question. And I said it was a very intelligent answer for every question he had.
Yeah.
I said, you did a remarkable, if you were full on, I said, you did a great job.
Yeah.
And he's still, you know, when I talked to him before, he's like, "Man," he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "Just listen to it." He goes, "You can tell."
I was like, dude, this is the most time traveler thing.
He goes,
ever.
"I was making bagels when I did that." He
Yeah,
goes, "I
right.
had a bagel." He goes, "I used to work for Microsoft." He goes, "And I made a deal with a bagel owner. I would come by if he would let me use his restaurant to make, like, you know, 3 or 4 dozen bagels." He said, "I'd taken to Microsoft and I sold them, you know, to the other employees." And so he said he was making bagels, and he goes, and I couldn't hear anything in the background. Now, Art did make the comment about, "Well, it's awful noisy where you're at," but
Oh, did he?
yeah, but I didn't
I
hear
don't
anything in the
remember that.
background. But I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's full of shit, but at the same time, so single 7, if you're watching, that was a good story, man. That was a good story, and I hope he's doing okay. Like I
Yep.
said, I've been trying to get a hold of him and like can't. He won't talk to me anymore. So, okay, man, we got way off the
Yeah,
track,
it
didn't
tends
we?
to happen with me.
It's been
I
That
awesome,
tend to-
dude.
well, no, we're not done yet.
Was it-
No, I'm just saying I tend to
Oh, we
No, I
did.
was telling him, like,
You guys keep going. I gotta take this real quick.
go ahead. The UFO thing.
yeah.
Okay, so you said that started when you broke up with a girlfriend, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, did you have any UFO experiences before that or anything, or
There's
and maybe it amped up, or was it just out of nowhere when this happened?
this is a difficult answer because mine's a powerful thing, but there are some very interesting things looking back throughout my life that have happened to me
Mm-hmm.
that as I dig into this a little more, it's like like losing time. I
So
don't
you've
know,
lost time?
driving on the highway and then like all of a sudden I'm 5 miles.
You know what
down
they
the
say
road.
about that?
I know.
Abduction.
I don't like to talk about that. Yeah.
They say abduction. You know, we had a guest
I don't
on.
know. All I know is I lost some time. I don't.
We had a guest on that she does hypnotism just for UFO abductees. And
I think there's something there, and I don't want to dig.
yeah, I hear you. I get it.
I'm still unpacking it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So anyway, so you break up with a girlfriend, and you start seeing.
And I'm at rock bottom at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you go through a breakup,
Yeah, it's horrible.
it's horrible, right?
I went through a
And-
divorce. It was horrible.
Right. I mean, just losing people in any capacity sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like a death.
It is. Yeah. I mean, there's no
A
difference.
death where you
almost.
feel like that person no longer, which makes it hurts more. Like, oh, that person no longer
Right.
cares for me anymore.
Right.
It's like,
something that, yeah.
yeah.
And it really started picking up, and I'd say for about 6 months wrote it off on anything and everything I could possibly think of. And then I reached out to some people, and I was like, "Hey, are you seeing this, or do I need to like be worried about myself?" And not once did I don't know.
When was this breakup? How long ago was this?
January of last year.
Okay, because I remember seeing the pictures on Facebook of you and her together. So I just figured you guys were still together. I didn't know there was a breakup. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good. I wish
Yeah.
we'll both continue to be great people.
Yeah. Do you still talk to her? No. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a breakup. UFO activity starts ramping up.
Yeah.
Does paranormal activity start ramping up?
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about both. I mean, we talked about Ike.
Yeah.
So what was this a different entity you think than
what? No.
Okay.
So I moved out of where I was living, and I moved temporarily back in with my mom until I got on my feet. Absolutely the same thing, right?
We had things coming off of the bar or the table or something like that.
Yeah, and it would, and then I started noticing those little blinking lights in the sky, and I was like, no way.
That's all I need now.
Yeah, because in my mind at this point, they're still separate things.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't need this too. What the hell is happening? And then finally I start to calm down. I get myself back together. I got off my antidepressants. I'm feeling great about life, and this stuff is still happening.
Yeah.
And I've been off them for a while at this point, half a year at least. Not dealing with depression, and I'm just like, okay, there's something to this.
Right.
It's happening a lot. So I start showing my mom, and there's been times I would run over and grab a neighbor, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, you see this, right? Like I'm not."
What did they say?
I absolutely saw it, and kind of walk back inside.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
No, was this the place that you live now, or is this somewhere different?
This was at my mom's.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
and then I don't know if I'd say it's picked up since I've moved out, but I think whenever I go back to my mom's is when if I had to pick a time, it was most active. It's some with
Paranormal or UFO?
both.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay. So more experiences at your old house than
But
over
there's still there's some paranormal stuff going on in the house. I have 3 cats. Unfortunately, I found 2 kittens, and I have not been able to make myself give them away.
Yeah.
But they are, they are just wired into whatever this thing is, and
I recently got cats. I noticed
they'll be playing, like 2 of them are kittens, and they'll just be running, going ape shit. And then whenever it's like the same time I feel like the environment change, they have stopped and are staring in a corner at the same thing, like in the same area.
They say animals have that kind of thing.
I think so.
Where they'll stare. Yeah. They kind of know.
Sure.
They feel energy more so than what we do.
I think so.
I
sure.
do. Absolutely. I do too. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Have you always been open-minded about the paranormal?
Yeah.
Before?
I'd say absolutely.
Did I share with you back in the day when we?
Yeah. That's why I reached out. I was just like, I was trying to think of who in the world can I talk to about this.
Yeah,
you found them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible, man. If there's because you do kind of question, like, I did the same thing, man. I was like,
am I crazy?
Am I mentally ill, or is this stuff happening?
Right.
But then, like you said, I tried to get validation by having someone there with me saying, "See, this is," and they saw the same thing.
Right.
Dylan experienced it with me, and we did the flash. Have you ever heard the flashlight thing?
Yeah, I don't. I have bad vibes about that.
Yeah, and I shouldn't have been messing with it, but I did. So I took a red, purple, yellow, or black, whatever it was, and turned it just a little bit, put them there, and I would ask turn the red light on, and the red one would come on. Turn it off, and go off. And Dylan saw that. So every color I asked, it did.
That's incredible.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And people can hear that story and they'll either try to call bullshit or not understand what that has on the effect that has on you when you are witnessing it. It's like paradigm shifting. It's like, what is reality?
For sure. For sure.
And it's hard to explain that to people.
Yeah, the thing that, like, then you got people going, well, you twisted the light, so it probably just kind of
right.
But when you're calling out a color,
Yes.
That's a whole different ball game. When I say
Statistically, that
turn the
might
purple
happen
one on,
once.
boom,
Yeah.
purple one
Yeah.
goes on. Turn
Right.
and when I said turn it off, boom, it goes off.
There's
Right.
like a consciousness there that's making decisions.
Absolutely, yeah. There's an intelligence.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
yeah. It was in it again. So I think also, like I said, I got real involved with it because I wanted to understand. When I was 15, and all this shit happened, I wanted to understand why is this, what is this.
Yeah.
But at the same
For sure.
time, if you keep digging and digging and digging, sometimes it can get worse and worse and worse.
Yes. You start to
And
lose your grip.
yeah, so I finally
Yeah.
got, like I said, I got to the point where, I mean, I had to actually have a ghost team come to my
Yeah.
house, and
Yeah.
they did validate. They caught voices on recorder. They caught a couple of orbs.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, yeah, your house is haunted. And then they just left, and I was asking them,
Now what?
hey, I want, the reason I called you guys was to remove this stuff. Well,
Yeah.
we don't do that. We collect evidence and we leave.
Point it out, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh man. So yeah, so Garrett, when he started dating my daughter, one of the things that would happen, I'd be in the bedroom,
Yeah.
and I would hear the drawer open, like someone's in the kitchen making a sandwich or something. I don't know. And
Right.
at my house at 3 a.m, someone doing that, that's
It's not abnormal.
possible. It's
Right.
not abnormal.
Right.
So one time I heard it, I go in there, and not only drawer is not open, there's nobody in there, and everything's shut. Nothing's
Just
happening.
calm, yeah.
So he spent
Wow.
the night, and he was sleeping on the couch, and the couch was right adjacent to the dining room to the kitchen.
Okay.
And then you thought it was me
Yes.
in the kitchen opening the drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, he's been in there for a long time.
Yeah. So Garrett gets up and
Yeah.
looks, and there's nobody
Like,
there.
Trip,
Yeah.
And just feeling people walk down the hall and waking up. Oh wait, no one's there.
for sure.
I mean, that's like scraping. Like it got way crazier.
yeah.
It got insane.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
And it seemed like the more attention that I gave
Yeah.
to that, it ramped it up. So then when things started getting nasty is when I thought, okay, I'm going to just ignore this thing because I don't
Right.
want this happening. Right.
Yeah.
Because some of the stuff was like, okay, one thing it would do, and one of my houses, I had a glass sliding door.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd go feed the dog, shut the door, I'd hear click.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, fuck. So the door's locked. My front door's locked. I had to, and this happened
Dang.
2 times. I
What?
had to knock the door that went into the garage, like with my shoulder,
Right.
messed my shoulder up doing that, broke the frame, had to replace
Dang.
all that. And then
Oh,
it
no,
happened
this-
one other time, but I was lucky that the front door was open. I was able to go in. But after that, I left the damn screen door, or the sliding door open.
Well, I mean, like maybe once, maybe somehow something weird happened, but like
It happened twice.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are the
Yeah.
odds of that?
But I mean, the thing is, there's nothing that can make that switch push down.
Besides a
And you know, I'm talking
physical-
about that little metal switch you push down the sliding
yeah,
door to
it's
lock
like
it.
goes
Cool.
down.
Right,
Yeah.
it goes down. Something physically moved that down.
There's literally nothing that can just wind's not going to get in there and push
No,
it
no,
down.
no, no,
yeah,
no,
and I
no,
hate
no.
it when people try to say stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but until they've
Yeah.
had that experience,
That's-
I mean, like you're saying, paradigm shift earlier.
Yeah.
Like once it happens to them and they're alone,
Yeah,
perspective
it
changes
becomes
really
real
fast.
very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you know what? I think what it is if that person believes that, you just turn their world upside down,
yeah,
and it scares
Yeah.
them. Because I think, by your 20s and 30s, you kind of think, okay, you got a grip on if it's a religion, whatever you believe in.
right.
And that's the path I go down. Now I've got these people telling me, what? You
Yeah.
gotta go, so they can't comprehend it, and they don't want to. Even if
Yes.
they think, God, shit, that maybe happened, they're not going to admit it because their belief system's
Questioning
completely
everything.
screwed up.
Right.
And I think fear is what scares people when you start talking about the paranormal. And although
Yeah.
some of the paranormal things that happen, I don't think are always fear based. Like a lot of stuff that happened to
Yeah.
mine was like kid stuff.
Absolutely.
And then, like I said, but when I started messing with the spirit box and I started I was just not careful.
right.
Then other things started coming in that
Right.
weren't so nice. I don't think they were demons. I don't,
No.
I don't believe in demons. I'm
I'm with you on that.
I think what it is basically
Perspective.
somebody dies. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say they were an evil person. They're an
Yeah.
asshole. They're probably an asshole on the other side.
Yes.
They didn't,
Yeah.
and they didn't want to cross, right?
Yeah.
So because they're thinking,
Because they're worried about judgment.
I was an
right. They got to
asshole.
worry about
Yeah.
judgment.
Yeah.
So they hang around and go, hey, let's fuck with people.
I'm stuck here. I'm gonna mess with people.
Yeah. I really think there's people like that.
Yeah, because you would be
Um,
arguing with people in the spirit box, like, go towards the light.
Yeah.
Remember you telling me about that stuff,
I
and
had
that blew my
7
mind.
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest phrase I got through a spirit box was help me. Help me, help me. And that to me was not a comforting sign because
No.
it was like, wait a minute. My belief system was when we pass that there's an angel, there's someone to lead us up there and
Not
not
help for, yeah.
to let you just kind of wander around in darkness.
Good luck.
And so yeah, good luck. Hope you find your way.
Yeah, you know that
Yeah.
light. Yeah, go down there, find that light. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that might be what it is again they see the light and they're
I'm not
like,
going there.
yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Because
You know,
for 90 years or however long they were on this earth, all they've heard was,
You know, wouldn't it be horrible if you went to the light and then all of a sudden you're reincarnated and you had
God dang it, I'm
You know what I'm
back."
saying?
Like,
like I want a rest break. Okay?
it's like
You
1985.
say that, give that a Google. I'm not gonna say much about it.
Alright.
It's not super tinfoil hat, but
About when you pass through
the
the light.
soul trap.
Who was it?
I think there's
Was
something
it Whitley
to that.
Strieber? Not Whitley Strieber.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. He totally
Yeah.
he told Art Bell for years, don't go to the light. It's a trick.
Yeah.
It's a trick.
And
And so
I almost believe that, but I don't know.
I don't.
I think it's
I
whatever's
don't.
here. I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be whatever you need it to be.
That's
You
what
know
I
what
think
I'm
too.
saying?
Yes.
I think your
mean-
death is going to be exactly whatever you want it to be. And I think if you are, look, if you're a Satan worshiper or something and you want, and that's your deal,
You're gonna have some weird.
you're
shit.
going to have some weird shit at your death.
Yeah.
And I think eventually you'll come to, hopefully some type of mental clarity. I don't know
Yeah.
what consciousness, right?
Right.
And you do go to the light and you're
Right.
don't go through all that.
Right.
But I think that, yeah, man, I think if there's buttholes on the earth, there's anything you want, I think is what you desire is probably what your death's going
Yeah.
to be. So I hope,
Yeah.
like when I die, like I told my dad before he died, I said, when I pass away, Dad, I said, I want you to be the first person I see
Yeah.
and show me the ropes.
That's it.
And he
yeah.
said, and he goes, you got it.
That's
so
awesome.
so I believe that when I die, I think
That's
I
awesome.
will see my dad.
Absolutely.
And so that's a comforting thought. And
Yeah.
and my dad, we've had a few psychics on here where my dad has came through.
Wow.
Guy knew nothing about my dad. My dad was like a Chet Atkins guitar picker, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he goes, yeah, my grandpa's guitar playing just runs in the family. And so he doesn't know anything about me. He's a military medium. When we first had
Amazing.
him on, and he goes, man, there's someone rocking out on the guitar right now. He goes, I don't know who's that's connected to. Recently died, and that was my dad had died maybe a month before that. I was like, that's me. Yeah. So he said some things that like he shouldn't have known. And then another medium came on. What was the guy? Brandon. Yeah. And he knew some stuff which I'm not going to get into.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
crazy.
That
Yeah.
he should not have known.
On my 30th birthday, I went and did a reading, and I've never told anybody about it.
Yeah, I've done
I walked
a
out of there
few.
bawling like a baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done a
It's
few.
wild, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reading
Nothing
thing,
like a good reading.
and that's the thing too. I do think there's a lot of charlatans out there,
Yeah.
but who they read a book and they think they're a psychic. But I mean,
Yeah.
Garrett and I have been lucky enough that we've
Outstanding.
had really good luck with some
That's
of the
awesome.
psychics that we've had on.
That's absolutely a thing, and it drives me nuts when people say that that's a.
Yeah, and
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
right,
episode
and no one
he's talking-
like the Amazing Randy. He was a guy that tried to
$1
debunk
million.
$1 million if
yeah,
you can prove you're
which
psychic.
several people did. And
Yeah,
he would just nitpick something stupid.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Well, the episode he's talking about, we had never met this medium, never shook hands,
Wow.
nothing. Completely
And-
across.
Yeah, my dad wasn't on Google. I mean, people go, well, how they knew you?
Well,
They
no, I
didn't
was
Google
gonna-
your dad, and I was like, my dad's not on
Come
Google.
Well, I was gonna tell him
yeah.
about the
Come
list I made.
on.
The
Yeah.
list I made.
Oh, tell him that's a
So
great story.
we had already seen this guy. My wife followed him. It was really good. So I was like, we had already had our first. I had my first one.
He wrote down these words.
with people
Yeah.
that I knew had passed away, and then I went through and I marked them out to where we could still read them, but to where in case like it was on camera.
Right.
Then I was like, I'll stick it under the bottom of my bag, very bottom of my bag, put clothes on it, everything, and
Yeah.
it sat here. And dude, out of nowhere, because my grandfather had just passed
Yeah.
away, and he's like, getting a baseball. He's like, this is weird. I'm getting baseball cards. Somebody to do with when I written baseball cards next to my grandfather.
Uh-uh.
I was like, dude, that's really weird. That's just such a weird thing. Like, if it was the
Oh.
90s when everybody loved baseball cards, but dude, we're talking 2022. Yeah, still, but like even
then,
nowadays,
yeah.
it's like not really common to, especially. I don't think Brandon likes baseball cards. I mean, I can ask him. I can ask him, but I don't think he's
I don't care about them
But
myself.
you see my point, where it's so
Yeah.
random. Where I had just made that list and put it in my bag at the very bottom. And I was like,
Trip.
dude, this is way crazy.
Yeah.
And he got it, and the words that Garrett wrote down, he pulls it out and it's like baseball cards. Everything he named,
Yeah, it
was
was
like
just-
it was
That's
there.
incredible.
So I mean, it shows you there's some people that can do that.
Absolutely. Remote
Um,
viewing and stuff.
yeah,
Mhm.
Garrett wants to learn how to do it, but I don't. I almost think. I think to a point maybe you can, but I think there's some gifted people.
You would have to
that-
It's like
sacrifice
anything
everything.
else. I think anyone can do it, but like some people are more natural musicians.
sure.
Some people are more naturally athletic.
Yeah.
I think it's like that.
For sure. I
I don't know that I'd want that because I don't want because you hear a lot of them where they said they can't shut the voice. They're like someone is in
Yeah.
their ear all the time going, they'll be at the grocery store. They'll see a lady and the
Yeah.
lady's mom or something's like, hey, that's my daughter. Would you go tell her I'm okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Because then I'd really question my sanity at that point.
Oh, I wouldn't be able to handle
I would like, the voices.
Yeah.
I'd be
Lock you up. But,
sequestered in a room with no
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
well, man, we got to shut this thing
Yeah.
down.
One of the longer interviews.
Yeah.
Killed it.
Yeah, I had a great time.
It was amazing,
This
dude.
went by too fast. We're going to have it back on because I got
There's nothing
through
like
about-
a reoccurring guest.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anytime.
by the way, someone said you look like Ed Sheeran.
Ed
I know how
Sheeran.
many
Sheeran.
times I've heard that. That's funny.
Do you hear that all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Susie.
I'm getting Brad Pitt a lot lately, and I just hate it.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
too.
Just what? Yeah.
Yeah. What are you gonna do, Garrett? Those
Yeah.
good looks.
Brad Pitt in the Tarantino movie.
Yeah. That made me so mad. I was like, Brad Pitt's maybe a year older than me, right? And so I go watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I
Jacked.
just watched that recently.
So good,
And
dude.
so,
good.
Yeah.
he gets on the roof, he takes off his shirt,
Man.
and I'm like,
Jacked.
that ain't fair,
You
man.
don't age. You don't age.
Yeah.
You don't
yeah.
age. He's like
Like-
ripped and like, God dang it.
Mm.
Some people in their jeans, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, everybody, thank you for showing up tonight. We love you guys.
Yeah, it's a great
Tell
show.
them who we having next week.
Hey, Strangeness. They really
Hey,
like
what?
Hey, Strangeness.
Okay, so
And they really
what-
like the Dog Man.
Oh,
They write books, they
okay.
have a podcast, they do paranormal stuff. So nice little social media following. It's gonna be fun.
That sounds
Exciting
great.
from
So
Texas.
we'll
So-
maybe talk about the Dog Man next week.
Well, we're talking about the Dog Man,
I never heard of the Dog Man.
dude.
I've heard of like
They
deer,
believe in werewolves too. So
the
listen.
big one in Oklahoma is Deer Woman.
No,
that was-
thanks.
I've
Yeah.
not heard of this.
Yeah, well, look that
I'll look that
look
up
that
for
up.
sure.
Deer Woman. Dude,
I love this stuff.
it's
Yeah.
funny because it's like you'll see her at Deer Creek. Well, there's probably like 200 Deer Creeks in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But it supposedly is a woman's head, I believe, in the body of a deer.
Like a centaur.
Yeah.
Like it's,
Yes.
Huh.
yeah, something like that.
That's
But-
cool.
All right, guys, we love you. We'll see you next week. Thanks for showing up, and
night.
peace out.